Hey there, welcome to the CMMC Compliance Guide Podcast. I'm Stacey.
And I'm Brooke.
From Justice IT Consulting, where we help businesses like yours navigate CMMC and NIST 800-171 compliance. We're hired guns getting companies fast-tracked to compliance, but today we're here to give you all the secrets for free, so if you want to tackle it yourself, you're equipped to do so. Let's dive into today's episode and keep your business on track. Today, we're breaking down the biggest takeaways from the Cyber AB's October 2025 Town Hall. There were major updates around the Title 48 rule, new legal enforcement cases, and even real-world success stories from USC. So let's dive into it. So, Brooke, with the government shutdown still underway, how is the CMMC program being affected?
Well, long story short, it's really not. So it's proceeding as planned, as scheduled. They're still doing Tier 3 reviews, background checks, basically. They're still doing those. They showed a graphic. I wish we had it here. We could show you. We maybe should have thought about that. But there's a graphic that they showed, and there was several things that the government does, and they all had green check marks except for one, and that was had to do with I believe anyway, for contracts. So the caveat may be everything's still proceeding and everything will still start. It'll still go into effect on November 10th. 48 CFR will, that is, still go into effect on November 10th. But if the government's still shut down, it may not actually be written into any contracts until whenever the government reopens. And so, hopefully maybe it'll open before the end of the year. But anyway, that may be the only casualty. Otherwise, the CMMC program as it is proceeding as normal.
There was also a big legal story mentioned during the town hall. Can you explain what happened with Georgia Tech?
Sure. So Georgia Tech was involved in a False Claims Act issue, and they ended up settling, agreeing to pay $875,000. So, which for a lot of small businesses, that's a gigantic chunk of change. So, Georgia Tech, maybe not. I really don't know, but it's a chunk of change, one that I would rather not have to be liable for, and so it's good to stay away from the False Claims Act, and the False Claims Act, generally the ones that are that I know about that have been reported. And by the way, most of those False Claims Acts are as a result of a whistleblower. You look down and see what happened, and it's whistleblower, compromise, whistleblower. So it's they're all not all. Most of them are whistleblowers, people that said, "Hey, these people aren't actually doing what they say they're doing." So, and they're clear-cut cases of people of companies saying they have 110 and really not even addressing some of the controls. So it's not a oops, we messed up. We had a minor problem. It's not that. Although I'm not saying that won't happen, but most all these that I know about are clear cut. They just weren't doing what they said they were going to do, and that's what a false claim is, right? So you say you're doing it, but you're actually not. So there are more of those. They're not slowing down. They're not just making an example out of a couple people and moving on. Those False Claims Acts, there's more all the time. So they keep coming. Like I said, most of them are whistleblowers, but they're not going to slow down. They want this to be in place and to actually really protect the DoD supply chain.
What is the current state of the CMMC ecosystem, and is it still expanding?
It is still expanding. So there were something like 65 Level 2 certifications that were issued in the past month, which pushed them up to a little over 400. I think I don't have the number out here, but I think that was 430 or so, or something like that. Level 2 certifications. There are 21 conditional certifications, which means that they've been issued a POAM and they have 6 months, 180 days to go back and fix that, and then before they get their certification. So there are also 567 certified assessors, and one of the important numbers of those assessors is the lead assessor, and there's 331 of those. So I'd like to see that number growing a lot quicker. But then again, I think I said this in the last podcast we have, but I'd like to see the lead assessors growing, because really the C3PAOs, they hire assessors and lead assessors to do the certification assessments, and some of them have CCAs and lead CCAs as employees, and then there's a lot of them that do 1099 work, and they may work for multiple C3PAOs, which is great, but that just means that those people are very, very busy. So I would like to see that number of CCAs and lead CCAs grow at a much larger pace. That would be good. I guess it's a double-edged sword. It's possible if you get a huge number of CCAs coming in that there may be quite a few who don't have as much experience, but this program's got to get off the ground. You're going to have that. You're going to have to work through it and just get through it. Everybody's got to start somewhere, I guess. So, but the lead CCAs and the CCAs in general are really where the bottleneck is going to be. We do have quite a few C3PAOs in the pipeline. I don't recall the exact number, but there were quite a few C3PAOs in the pipeline that should be coming on board. So that's really great news. But like I said, I'd really like to see those CCAs and lead CCAs, that number hopping up there as well. And so, along with that, the window on when you can get an assessment, or the lead time on when you can get an assessment, that continues to grow. You can still get in, some newer C3PAOs or assessors, and assessors, I guess maybe, but some newer ones may have a shorter window, shorter lead time. But most of them at this point right now, in October, before we even hit November, most of them are booking out into, that I know of, are booking out into January, February. Some of them, a lot of them even further than that, but January and February is typical right now. So that's 2 months plus. So, but and they have also said that once this final rule for the 48 CFR dropped September 10th, that they started getting busy. Makes perfect sense, because we've gotten busy too. So everybody sees the train coming. That light that you see in the tunnel is a train coming. So, and we know the timeline and when it's coming and all that kind of fun stuff now. So, but anyway, ecosystem is looking good, with the caveat that I would like to see a lot more CCAs and lead CCAs coming in.
Were there any leadership or structural updates inside the Cyber AB?
Yeah, the Cyber AB announced that the C3PAO Advisory Council and 3 committees and 1 subcommittee are now fully staffed and ready to go. They put out a call, a few weeks ago, for people to submit their request to be on those committees. Anyway, they went through all those, went through the bona fides, I guess, and have staffed all those committees. So they're all fully staffed and ready to go. Those committees are the Assessment Guidance Committee, the CAP, or the CMMC Assessment Process Committee, the Accreditation Committee, and the ESP, or External Services Committee. So that's actually, the ESP one is a subcommittee. And to tell you the truth, I don't know what it's a sub of, but it's a subcommittee. So, and what I've got, just the quick descriptions of those. The Accreditation Committee is responsible for bringing clarity and making recommendations in the processes followed by the Cyber AB to accredit future C3PAOs. The Assessment Guidance Committee is responsible for helping the development of a CMMC body of knowledge for the CMMC ecosystem and defining consistent technical and administrative interpretations across all C3PAOs, which is needed. The CAP, or the CMMC Assessment Process Committee, is responsible for advising on enhancements to the CAP document, which the CAP is a really good document. It's very, very detailed and meant to help ensure that all of the assessments are as standard as possible. But there are things that need to be addressed in it. Everything's, nothing's perfect, right?
Mm-hmm.
This committee will address that document, which serves as a mandatory guidance for C3 PAOs as they conduct CMMC Level 2 certification assessments. And then the External Services Subcommittee is responsible for helping bring clarity to the roles of external service providers, which are CSPs and generally described as CSPs and MSPs, but really it's a CSP or a ESP that's not a CSP is what the definition is, and identifying ways to encourage more ESP participation within the ecosystem. So that is a major problem because there's not many MSPs or ESPs, that take part in the CMMC ecosystem. There are some knowledgeable ones. There are people that kind of play around the edges, and if they get into it a little bit, they realize that they probably should not play around the edges and just stay out of it, or get completely into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
With CMMC, really, you're either in it or you're not. There are ways to partner with people to do that, but in any case, they're trying to encourage more participation. So all those committees are fully staffed and ready to go now.
So it seems like during the town hall, they shared the University of Southern California's success story. Could you share some of the biggest highlights from their journey?
Yeah, sure. So the USC's Institute for Creative Technologies, I believe is what it was, shared their experience gaining their CMMC Level 2 certification. It's a really good real-world example. They said they're a small team, and they, in the world of enterprise, maybe they are a small team, but compared to our clients, they're definitely not a small team. But for them, they are a small team that took care of this. They didn't have a big giant staff. It was, just like anybody who has to go through this process, you got to have to figure out what the people you have. You can't exactly just hire a whole ton of people. You can't. You can hire some. You got to figure out how to spend money because it's gonna cost. But in any case, they started back in 2015. Mapped their progress to the 800-171. And then officially earned their certification in CMMC Level 2 certification in 2024. They did narrow their CUI scope by implementing and making their CUI boundary Microsoft 365 GCC High. They ran multiple gap assessments. Somebody, I believe one of the questions was something to the effect of, what do you wish you would have done? And they effectively ran multiple gap assessments, but they said they would definitely recommend a mock assessment before your real assessment, see where you're at, right? He said they spent a lot of time documenting their inheritances from cloud providers. So like Microsoft 365, GCC High, stuff like that. They documented all those inheritances that they got from that flowed down. They uploaded over. This will get you. So we always talk about documentation, right? Documentation. So in fact, I don't know that I've said that in the past couple of podcasts.
Yeah, it's been a while actually.
So, yeah. So, this is a little bit technical controls and a lot process and documentation, right? That's really what it is. It's really a business thing. It is not an IT thing. So, there's not as much of an IT thing. So, but documentation is, you've got to be able to prove you're doing what you say you're doing, and documentation is the way you do that. And so along with your SSP and all your policies and the plans and procedures you have and the authorized lists and, all that kind of fun stuff, you have to upload artifacts to show, here's a screenshot of this. Here's, whatever it may be, your artifacts you upload. But they said they uploaded over 330 artifacts during there. So that just goes to show you that there is a lot of documentation that goes into this. You can't shortcut the documentation. If you do, I would say you risk not passing your certification. Mm-hmm. So, and one of the things he said was that their main lesson was that CMMC isn't about technology; it's about process maturity. That's really it. I mean, yes, you can say, "Yeah, I've got an antivirus." Well, what does it do? Well, Here's what it does. We wrote it all down. This is how we configure it. This is what it does. This is where it's at. It's all documented. You start going down the process of process maturity then. So that's what he said.
Was there any advice shared for smaller contractors who may not have the same resources as USC but would like to achieve the same result as them?
Yeah, absolutely. They said some of the same things we do. They said start with data mapping. You can't protect what you don't know you have, right? So, and that's what we say. Figure out what kind of CUI you have, right? And why that's a CUI you have. Is it just because I'm guessing? Just because make a widget for F-35s or a widget for a laser system or, whatever it is, that's got to be CUI, so I have CUI. Well, that's great, but you're guessing. So, how do you know that CUI? Well, it should come in the form of your contracts. Documents should be marked. Don't laugh too hard. So hopefully we'll start seeing more marked documents, more properly marked documents here before long. Supposedly, from what Katie Arrington said, starting in October, you should see that. And October is just about over. So maybe we'll start seeing those documents that are properly marked coming more often now. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that that's what happens. But start with the contracts, know what's in your contracts, know what defarce clauses are in there. Ask your contracting officer, hey, is this CUI? Or if it's marked CUI and you don't think it should be, is this really CUI? Is that bolt right there that is a off-the-shelf product? Is that really CUI? I don't think it is, and they very well may come back and say, you know what, no, it's not. And really, in the end, they don't really want more of a burden. Some of them do have a tendency to just say everything in here is CUI, but in the end, they really don't want more of a burden on themselves than they need to have. Mm-hmm. So it's about knowing what, if you have CUI, what type of CUI you have, why you know that, and then figure out where all it's at in your systems. And your systems could be email, could be SharePoint, a server, could be your ERP or MRP. It could be a laptop, a CAD program. There's a lot of things it could be. So you got to figure out where all that's at. So they said start with data mapping. That's what we talk about. And they said treat compliance as an administrative process, not an IT project. And that's true. It's the business. It's not just IT. And if you treat it as just an IT project, then they're gonna say, that's more IT stuff, and you've got to do it with the budget you have. You got to do it with the people you have. So definitely, I agree with that. Treat it as an administrative process. And he said, shrink your boundary. And I agree. If there's at all possible to take that scope of CUI and narrow it down to a smaller scope, just a few machines, just a few people. However you can shrink that boundary, that scope for your CUI, do it if you can. Some people can't do it, just by the nature of their work. Sometimes it's possible to say, do we really need to be doing it this way? Can we do it a different way? So, but figure out your boundary, shrink it if you can. And then he said, document everything. Again, documentation. So document everything. Make sure you keep and save that documentation in the right places. And I would say put it in a GRC tool. Don't keep it on a file share, because then you start getting different versions that are hard to track. And, somebody saved it over here or over there. If you put it in a CRM tool, if you put it in a GRC tool, it's there with version tracking, and you can work on it there. So in one spot. And the one thing he did say, he said that the technical stuff is easy. And I'd say easy-ish, but the technical stuff is easy, and he's pretty much right there. The people and the processes are the hard part. They are. And even in the normal IT world, without any compliance, the people and the process are the hard part. Mm-hmm. You can put all your technical controls in to protect people from all sorts of malware and all sorts of problems, all sorts of compromises. But if that user is intent on clicking that link from somebody that they don't know, there's I wouldn't say there's very little you can do, but they're going to test the boundaries of your tools. So, so yes, people and processes are definitely the hard part.
Were there any reminders during the Cyber AB about professional ethics in the ecosystem?
So he did remind us of the ethical obligations that we all have: the see-through PAOs, the CCAs, the RPs, RPOs, CCPs. Everybody that's in the CMMC ecosystem has to sign the Code of Professional Conduct and is held to these ethical obligations. And if there's a legal or ethical issue, we have to report it. I mean, that's plain. But at the same time, you've got to make sure that's a actual problem. You don't want to be just tattling on people you don't like, right? He didn't say that. But, so that includes fraud, misrepresentation, or any actions that could damage the credibility of the program. It all boils down to that they're trying to protect the integrity of the Cyber AB and the whole CMMC ecosystem. Mm-hmm. So that's what they're trying to protect. Makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm. Were there any updates around assessor training or certification programs?
Yes. So CCA exam, I believe, is scheduled for release in 2026. Updated CCP training is launching now. I have it here in my notes. They also said that this had to be people that have not actually signed the Code of Professional Conduct. Okay. But in fact, my wife is watching this with me, and she's been dumped in the deep end with me about all this. So, but she was watching it with me, and she turned to me and said, "Are people really doing that?" And so what they've done is they've taken fake certification badges and put them on their website and whatever else, claiming that they're certified, or that they, I guess they don't really know what that means. I can't imagine anybody that's an actual CCP or RP or anybody like that using using something that's not correct. There's a right way to do that, and they hammer that in. So I don't know who was doing that, but but there's certainly people that are doing that. There are also people that are putting up and I guess really the one thing he did talk about was that there are some level 2 certification also that people are posting on their website. Not supposed to do that. They're looking at doing a version that you can publicly post, but there's nothing that's official that you can post on your website that you're level 2. You can say you're level 2 compliant or certified, but there's nothing from the Cyber AB that you're supposed to be able to do that with. And they did say the official digital credentials are in development for that level 2 certification. So they're working on that. Like I said, it's something they realize would be helpful for people. During the conference, during the CS5 conference that was, I don't know, like a week or two back now. Time has flown. I've lost complete track of time. But they did say that some people mentioned it would be really nice to be able to search a database of all the companies that are Level 2 certified to find some, suppliers that you can use. And they said, that's a great idea, except China would love to know who's certified and who's not. So don't expect that anytime soon. That's a huge risk putting all that together in one spot. So not that they couldn't figure it out by looking at people's websites, but you don't want to make it easy for them, right? So we'll see if that comes or not.
That makes a lot of sense. I didn't think about that.
Right,
I'm like,
exactly.
that might be a problem.
Exactly.
So people are just making like Canva badges.
I guess that's
crazy.
what they're doing. Or I don't really know what they're doing, to tell you the truth.
That's wild. That takes me by surprise as well. So to round everything out, what were the key takeaways from this town hall for contractors preparing for 2026?
Sure. So the biggest thing, of course, is that, and I think we've probably said this on the last few podcasts too, but since September 10th, is that CMMC is moving forward. It's coming. There's no stopping it. The government shutdown is not going to stop it. Nothing's going to stop this. They're going to keep on rolling forward. The longer the government shutdown lasts, it's possible that they may not actually get written into any contracts until the government reconvenes. But other than that, CMMC is coming. There's nothing stopping it. They know they need it. They want it in place, and they want to move forward on it. So, however pretty or ugly you think this thing is, it's moving on, and it will help secure the DIB. It will. There's a lot of it that's a little onerous, but it will help secure the DIB, and so they're moving forward with it because they know we have to do that for our national security.
Mm-hmm.
Contractors that focus on documentation, consistency, and transparency set themselves up for success. Everybody that they've had on that talks about achieving a Level 2 certification or something of that nature, what I can tell you is that they've all talked about using a GRC tool. So not that you have to, not that everybody that's passed has, but a GRC tool makes it a lot easier for you to keep track of all that documentation. So that's really an important thing to do. And the only other thing they talked about a few things, but the other important thing that they talked about, other than hammering on ethics again, is that these False Claims Act issues are gonna keep popping up. They're not going to go away. They're trying to take care of those and make sure that they don't happen. So just be careful. Make sure that you're doing what you say you're doing. Make sure that the score you put into SPRS is correct. As correct as you can make it. And you don't want a False Claims Act filed against you.
If you have any questions about what we covered, reach out to us. We're here to help fast track your compliance journey. Text, email, or call in your questions and we'll answer them for free here on the podcast. You can find our contact info at CMMC ComplianceGuide.com. Stay tuned for our next episode. Until then,